Here's why wearing a mask could be really bad for you, bad for us all. Right? Firstly, you have to understand um, what viruses are. Here's a good way to understand it. And we can understand it this way because we're using computers. Now, when your computer has a little pop up and it says potential threat found and one possible virus, right? You don't sit there looking through all your files and things like that to find this one particular virus. You let it do a full computer scan, don't you? And that's what happens in your body because your body is a really clever system. Now, yeah, so when it detects a particular virus, it does an assessment and then it does a full scan, and that's where you get hot because it's burning it out. Right? Now, if you remember, one of the problems, right, with War of the Worlds, Martians, and I'll go into Martians, and I'll explain this in a minute, right? But what happens is wearing masks and separating yourself from allowing your body to manage itself becomes that it, it, it doesn't get used to doing the full system repair. And then what happens is first you start off with a mask, and then they'll tell you have to stop it, and we've already done that, right? And we get to the point where your body doesn't be exposed. That's what we're doing with developing pictures, the exposure, the picture, from the negative to the positive, from the negative, the little dark picture, to the positive, where it's bigger and it's colour and we can see it all a bit more clearly, right? Right. Because in the future, potentially, we're not there yet, although there's a layer that is, because your body needs to, it's like not learning. It's like if you didn't learn anything and then somewhere down the line you were expected to know the answer to something. Well, you haven't because you haven't got the answer because you haven't learned it. If you don't allow your body to develop and learn and be exposed to this learning, you separate it off so that when something comes, it's not learned how to deal with it, and that's when it wrecks your system. And that's in War of the Worlds, which is, it's separated off, living in an encased sort of tripod. See, this is the thing, you see, because, right, one of the worlds, yeah, I don't want to show you this one, right, this layer that we're at, because you've got different layers in the atmosphere, you've got above, you've got below, you've got the future, you've got the past, right? And our layer that we see, right, is the manifestation of the data that we perceive at this level within this level. The clouds, the ground, at different levels, but we perceive them from this level. So from another level, and it's the mirrors, right? War of the Worlds, Match of the Worms, Match of the Day. Now you might find that strange, but looking from above, looking from the perception of above, right, this is the battle. Oh, this is I know, fine. Right, is because the formations, the armies of within the story, within history, right, they had formations, right, and they went to battle, right, on the battleground. And looking from above, looking from out of the perception of time, football has been perceived as a battle. These worms have one cannonball between them and they keep firing it at each other and, you know, winning points in the war, right? And it's an intelligence that sounds, I'm not going to say unintelligent because that's under intelligence, and it's all of the pressures, and this is our sharing middle ground where we try and sort of balance it out. So there's the future. This is where this is why snowflakes and the symbols of rain and fog, but all of the information from the future and the past displays itself on our level, right? In everything that we perceive, books, TVs, um, trees, birds. It's everything. And if you can interpret that data, then you can see the past. You can, yeah, don't say predict. All contained within the ladder, the stairway. Right? You just don't see that there's the actual, from this perception on a flat background, you don't see the stairs going that way. Right? So to get back to the point of masks, right? Because people are being made to wear. Yes, I'm doing it. But I need to understand. You need to understand. Because if you're going to get to the future, you need to understand. Right? If you make people do things here, you will wake the opposite, the next level up, the mirror, in the house of mirrors. This well, if you need to know, that's why I'm here, right? Though you are more likely to make your future self crash and burn by wearing a mask and separating yourself from the learning exposure on a biological level, on a physiological pathway. Because your body won't learn. It will not take in the information for its environment. Therefore, you will be exposed to an environment that your body can't handle. It will crash. And that's what's being made to happen, to bring you down a level. And bring it down a level to be more controllable, to be managed. I'm not going to go quite into the reptilian, mammalian, and higher powers, sort of different levels of the brain and how we've, you know, I'll talk about hybrids and things like that. But once you understand the answers are there. But for this video, masks are actually more likely to restrict your longevity and health and that's the thing that, you know, it's being sold under health and keeping everybody safe, but actually it's going to have the opposite effect, for the reasons I've said.